Okay, so this is going to be a Dartcraft 1.6.4 tutorial. I think what I'm going to do is just do it to where it kind of goes down the line of like what you would really do from Dartcraft. I might miss some things because of things that either I don't either know like enough stuff about them, or I mean, like I've played this mod pretty close since it came out, so I'm very familiar with this mod. There's a few things that have been added though that either I've never really used or I just don't know exactly how they work. So some things may not be in here. Either A, if I don't really see that they're like very useful, that might be a reason as well. But most things will get covered with this. And the first thing is, one of the things that I almost always forget is the clipboard. Now, let's see. I believe this one. Yeah, this is the recipe for a clipboard. It is very cheap. You can have this pretty quick, honestly. Um, just some wood, iron, and paper. Very easy to obtain that, honestly. So you can very quickly have a clipboard right at the beginning of the game almost. Now, you might be wondering, like, well, okay, what's so great about the clipboard? Well, for one, of course, yes, it is a portable crafting table, which is amazing. Having to craft one and then, place it down and then craft your items and then pick it back up, that can get obviously obnoxious and it kind of slows you down. So, one thing that you can do with this, though, that is one of the things that I've honestly always liked about this thing, but again, I half time forget about the clipboard. But if you click this button, it will distribute them how they're supposed to be. Like, for instance, let's say you want to make chests, but you don't really feel like doing that. For instance, what you can do is click this, and it evenly puts it in there. Now, another thing that you can do is, let's say you have just a stack of wood in there, but you don't even want to click it around at all. You can click that and it does it for you. Now, you can also click that and it takes it out. Now, one thing also that makes this really amazing is the fact that you can shift click your items in. Now, this is an item from extra utilities, but you get the point. You can shift click things in and then you craft them from there. And yes, you can shift click from this and it will give you what you're crafting. Now, another thing that this can be really useful for is the fact, like, let's say you're going mining, but you don't want to have to keep crafting your tools. Well, if you exit it out and go back into it, it stays there. Now, as you know before, you can shift click. But let's say, again, you want to be lazy, you don't really feel like having to click everything. You can click that and it evenly distributes everything so that you're ready to go and you can keep on crafting and do what you want to do. So that is the clipboard. Now, one of the more other basic items as well is the gray storage unit. Now, a lot of people that I've seen that play with this mod, most people don't use this item. This item is amazing. For one, all these dyes, you can dye the chest. For instance, I believe you have to shift left or... I honestly don't know. I've never dyed these before, but like if I look it up, if I look up Dartcraft, I think you actually have to craft it itself, I think is what it is. Whoops. I'm pretty sure that's what it actually is. Yeah. If you craft it in a recipe, it will do that. Now, one thing that you're able to do as well is, like, for instance, I'll take this orange back. If you break these and pick it up, it keeps the stuff in it. Now, again, here we go. We'll go ahead and we'll make it orange and we'll place it down. Of course, that orange looks a bit gold, but yeah. So you can kind of see like what you can do with this. You can change it to any color you want, and like I said, when you break it and pick it up, it keeps its stuff. So that is awesome. Okay, and another thing here that you can actually do with the storage units. As you see, there's 3 different ones here. You have your normal chest, which, you know, that's a 27 slot chest. And then you have a 54 slot chest and a 72 slot chest. And these are what they look like. So you can see you can get other ones. Now these require to get a upgrade in the Force Infuser, which we will see at a later time. We will see that. And I'll explain everything and all that. Okay, so this is the power ore. This is what you'll find in the world randomly. I think you can find it anywhere from like floor 50 all the way down to like even diamond floor and stuff. From my past experience of playing with this mod quite a bit, when you play with other mod packs and like you have like copper and tin is like on floor 50 and 40, I'll still find power ore there. So more than likely, you know, if you're playing with other mods, you'll find this pretty much all over the place. Now, me myself, I play Mad Pack. I'm not 100% sure if that is changed, like if the power ore is changed in Mad Pack for the configurations, but even from what I remember playing, you could find it almost anywhere. You could drop into a ravine and you would find it in the ravine, and it would be like, you know, floor 50 or so, you'd find it. Now, one thing is you can't break it with a wooden pick. That should be pretty obvious. But you can actually break it with a stone one. So, you know, early on, right as soon as you begin, you can just start getting right into this. So that is something cool. Now as well, you can break the nether one, which you'll find the ones in the nether a lot more often. Now, as you saw there, the nether one gave me 2, the normal one gave me 4. So you have a chance, it is a random chance, it's like redstone. You can get anywhere from 2 to I believe 4 from each one, so it's kind of funny to get 2 and 4. But yeah, you can get either 2 or 4, so very nice. Okay, so another thing here is that you have spoils bags. Now, spoils bags are something you can get from a mob drop. You can also even find them in chests. When you're randomly going around, you can find these in chests, which are amazing. Now, there's 3 different tiers to them. You have a tier 1 bag, tier 2, and tier 3. Obviously, the higher the tier, the better of loot. Now, you can right click them and you can see the loot. As you'll see here, this is the loot that you can get. You know, some of these stuff obviously isn't from Dartcraft. Normally you would obviously just get, I'm pretty sure, like vanilla items if you didn't have any other mods. I think you can even get Dartcraft stuff, you know, like force, buckets, gems, things like that. This is the highest tier of bag. Now as you can see, you know, there's some force gems in there. Of course, with playing with mod packs, you know, having so many mods in here, you get random trash that shouldn't even be in a tier 3 bag, but it doesn't know exactly what should be tier 3 because of the fact of playing with so many mods. So now another thing that you can do with these is if you right click a chest, it automatically puts the contents in the chest. So you can just right click the bags and they go directly into a chest. So if you're playing with a mod like Applied Energistics and you have an inner chest set up to your ME system, you can actually right click on the inner chest, and that inner chest will then, if you have it to where it imports into the ME system, you can just right click inner chest with the bags and it'll automatically go into your ME system. So that's something to note if you're playing with other mods with this mod. Okay, so now you know, you have some portions and everything, and you want to know what exactly you do with them. Well, you can use Dirt Force iron, which is just iron recooked back into a furnace. If I show, you can just take iron and put it right back in the furnace and you get Dart iron. So there is other ways of making this. You can make it with the ingots from Dartcraft that are a bit more advanced. We'll get to that later. Now, if we get to these, you can use also just normal iron, but you'll see you only get 2 force ingots. You can also use gold and get 3. You can use any bronze from any mod pack will work. Tinkers and forestry and industrial craft. Now, you can also, like I had showed, you can use dart iron, which is probably one of the best things to use, because as you see here, nothing else gives you more than 3. So the cheapest thing to use would be to use dart iron. Now, like I said, if you're playing with other mod packs, you know, maybe some of this other stuff, maybe you're having a lot of it, and you'd rather use that. Your choice. Okay, so this is showing, you know, once you have force ingots and all that, you know, more want to know exactly what you would do first with them. Well, a force ingot can make nuggets. If you take a stick and the nugget, you get a force rod. Now, one thing that you want to do first, now, if you don't really know a lot of Dartcraft, this can be a useful item. If you take a vanilla bookshelf with a force rod, you get the Book of Medora. Now, this book will show you everything in Dartcraft. Literally everything, if I am correct. It does show you everything. So, you know, this is a very useful thing. You know, let's say you don't know what this is. It will tell you about what it is, what it does, and things like that. And, you know, it'll even show you like what you can do with upgrading it and stuff like that. It goes very much into detail. This is a very useful book for someone that is new to Dartcraft and they feel like the mod is somewhat confusing. It's a very, very good book to use for, you know, reference if you want to know something about an item. Maybe you don't know everything about an item and you want to know more about it. Now, another thing you want to do pretty much right off, as soon as you get a force rod, since you get 2 durability, which is 2 uses, once you make it with only a stick, you want to make sure that you make a force sapling. Now, what I want to show you as well is that if you use the last durability, you see it's at 0, it doesn't actually break. What you can actually do is you can refill it. I believe, let's see. Here we go. Think. Nope. Didn't have this out already. Here we go. If you have some force gems, if you take the force gems, this is a fully empty one. Now, if you go over the item and you hit F, which is the shortcut key to pull this up, you can put force gems in here. Now, each force gem is only 250 liquid force. So it's really not a very good ratio of the way that really works. We'll get into more of a way of more efficiently doing that. At least I believe it's more efficient. But you know, once you put the force in, you can see that now it actually shows how much force is in it, and it doesn't have a durability bar anymore. Now, one thing that you can actually do with the sapling is it only takes 1 bone meal. This is configurable, so you are able to change this. You can change it to where you can't use bone meal on it if you feel like it's too overpowering, and I believe you can even change it to be more than 1. Could be wrong on that, but I do know that you can change it to where you can't use bone meal, because this can become overpowered if you're playing with certain mods, and you can auto have it do this and you'll have tons of force wood. 1 bone meal and it automatically makes it. Now again, you could think that's really OP because of the fact that it only takes 1, but that's really up to you if you feel like that is too OP. Now what I just did there was using vein miner, but whenever you destroy these, you get the logs, you get more saplings, and you get force nuggets. Force nuggets comes from the leaves. It's random, obviously, and the logs here, you can actually craft these into actual planks, which they look pretty cool. I think they look really cool. So, you know, a gold wood looks nice. Now another thing is when you make these sticks, you make 4 sticks. Now these 4 sticks are used for a few different things, but the main thing is that you can make a fully already maxed force rod. Now it's not maxed with force already in it, but it will be a full force rod. So if you don't want to actually use, you know, a bunch of force gems to be able to do stuff with your force rod, you can just make one of these, and as you can see I can hit F and, you know, it shows that it's empty. So that is pretty much what the force rod can do for you. It's a very amazing thing. There's even more things you can do with it as well, and we'll get to that. Okay, so you know, you've seen you've seen the storage units. They're pretty much a portable system of you know, bringing stuff with you. It's a pretty big inventory as well, you know, just a normal sized chest. So it's really nice to have these. Well, there's another item from Dartcraft which is called the Force Pack. Now, Force Pack isn't as good. It only has 8 slots, so it's not really good. It's not that great. Only has, you know, 8 slots, but you know, for items that, you know, you really, you know, maybe food or something, or, you know, whatever reasons, just so that you can easily access it. You don't have to place it in the world, break it, yada yada. These are a pretty useful item. We'll get more into these as we progress through this. You can upgrade these as well, just like you can these. If you see here, there's a Force Pack upgrade. Like I said, we'll get into that, and we'll see that you can upgrade these. I don't think they can get, they can't get that big, but I know they can get pretty big though. I'm not sure about that big, but like I said, I do know they can get bigger. So it's definitely a decent item to be able to carry around, you know, storage with you. So yep, and that is the Force Pack. Oh, actually, a few other things about the Force Pack that I forgot to mention here is that if you shift right click, you can change the color, and you can name it whatever. So for instance, you know, just like Dartcraft tutorial. So save, and it saves the name, it saves the color. You can go back in here, you can change it, you can come back in here, you know, you can delete it and click save, and it just becomes back as Force Pack, you know, blah blah blah. So yeah, this is definitely a very useful item to have, and like I said, we will get more into it more as this video progresses. Okay, so the next item we're going to look at is the Force Engine. Now, no, I guess I'll cover this first. This would make a little more sense. Okay, the Force Infuser. This is where you start getting into the more, I guess you could say, confusing part of this mod. The Force Infuser, it's a very amazing thing to have. The Force Infuser, though, allows you to, basically, it's Dartcraft's way of enchanting an item. That's exactly what it is. Now, the one thing about this that can be a little confusing is that, for one, it needs power. Another thing is that it needs liquid force. So you can go ahead and you can put in these. You can put those in there, which this is the better way of filling up your tools and stuff. For instance, like this, you know, if I wanted to, I can throw this in there. Now I don't have a book in here, so I can't do anything. If you look up here, well, don't have enough energy. So the next thing is the engine. Now, if you don't have Buildcraft, the crafting recipe is different. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I do know it's different if you do not have Buildcraft. So as you can see, you know, making stone gears, then you make force gears, and then you can also make a piston with force ingot, which is one of the things I wanted to show you, that you can make these with force ingots instead of using iron. And then you just make like any other engine. If you've made engines before, this is dead on exactly how you would make a normal engine, just with Dartcraft stuff with force. So now what you can do is you can place that down. You can use a lever to activate it like you can with anything else. Now, another thing you'll see is that these are both empty. You will need force gems, like so. Now, you can either use water or you can use milk. Milk is the better thing to use because milk will actually, milk will allow you to get the most efficient ways of power. I believe it times the power by, let's see, whenever I activate it, you'll see what it does. The MJ is 10 per tick and throttle is 2.5. So this is the best throttle for it to have. Basically, the normal output of this engine isn't obviously very high without the throttle. So if you have milk in there, it makes it more efficient. You can put water in it, that makes it a little less efficient, but more efficient than if you didn't have anything in it. So, maybe whenever you're first starting out and you're doing this, you can use water. There's no problem with that. It doesn't really hurt it too much, but, later along the road, if you're able to get enough milk, that is definitely the better way of doing this. And then as you'll see, this is filling up with power, and I actually can go ahead and recharge this up. Now, as you can see, one force gem gave me 1 bucket of liquid force, which, as you remember before, whenever you take these tools, or any force tool for that matter, when you hit the F key and you recharge it, that's less efficient than it is to do this. Because as you'll see, 975, it took 25 off to repair the one use, and then 975 is from the other rest of the bucket. So this is a more efficient way of recharging your rods and tools from from Dartcraft, my bad. So this is definitely a better way, and we'll get more into that as well. Okay, so now the more, I suppose, confusing part of Dartcraft is the upgrades home. If you just use the force rod with a vanilla book, you can place this on the top, and then now you're able to actually use this. It'll show you here, it'll show you for one, it'll show you this, it'll show you how to make it, stuff like that. And then these things, you'll go over them and it'll show question marks. Now if you click on them, it'll kind of give you a hint to what this could actually be. Now, as you can see, it says it appears to be a small fragment of force. Now, if you remember before, you can turn a force ingot into nuggets. So these explanations are a little bit, some of them can be very vague once you get higher tier, but for the most part, they explain exactly what they are, for the most part. Now, some of them will already be automatically lit up, even without actually having to learn it. Now, once you know what it is and you use the item in the force infuser to upgrade your item, it will become lit up, and then once you have all of them lit up of that tier, you unlock the next tier. I'll get more into that probably in the next video, because I feel like, to me, this is kind of like spoiler stuff, so I don't want to get too much into this and have it for a separate video. So if you want to figure this stuff out on your own, you can, but I will have a video for all of the stuff in the force infuser. I'll have that as a video. Okay, so something else here is that if you use a force gem, you get 1,000 liquid force and you get no force points. Now, force points really don't matter anymore. Like, what it used to be is like, the more force points you got, the faster you can upgrade your tome. That's not the case anymore. With this now, force points really don't matter too much as far as I know. I mean, I haven't really gotten to like the full out, I think it's tier 7 book. I haven't gotten to that. Well, I've gotten to it, but it's been a while. But if you use these, the force shards, which you'll get from a broken force tool, or well, you can break them down. If you use one of these though, it'll give you again a bucket, but it gives you 10 force points. And like I said, I don't know exactly if these force points do really anything. If they actually do, I'm not too sure what it really is, honestly. I mean, it could, but normally I've always used these as energy, or well, as the liquid force anyway, so. Alright, so one of the items that I guess I should have went over a little bit earlier, but I feel like this is more the stuff that most people maybe not know of or something like that. But another item that's kind of like early game that you should definitely make is a force wrench. Now, the amazing force wrench, again, if you hit the F key, it's to charge it up. And we'll go ahead and we'll throw it in there. Now, one thing that's really cool about this is that if you shift right click, certain items it works with, like a bookshelf, for instance. Normally if you break it, you would get books, so this can act as silk touch in a sense. Now, another thing that's really cool is that, let's say you have like all your loot in this chest. For instance, I'm just going to throw a bookshelf. Normally if you were to break the chest, it would give you the item that's inside of it, or items. Now if you shift right click this chest with the force wrench, it becomes a tile entity, or tile box, that then will show you how many slots, and it ends up acting just like these. Now obviously, you know, this is the same as this. So, you know, really beginning game, if you're not obviously really able to have a force wrench, for the fact of maybe you don't have enough iron or gold or whatever you choose to use to make force ingots to be able to craft this, you know, maybe you would just go with these. Now, one thing that's really ridiculous about these, though, that can become very insane, is the fact that, I mean, as you know, you can break these and they keep their inventory. And then same as, you know, this, you can force wrench it and it keeps its inventory. Now, if you've obviously realized, with doing this, you can have infinite storage while you're traveling, or, you know, going on an adventure. So, this definitely can become, to some people, a little overpowered, because of the fact that you can have unlimited storage wherever you go. But then again, with the way this game is anymore, especially with playing mods, this will be amazing. Because this will allow you to just, you know, venture out until you die, or venture out until you get bored. Maybe you have like so much stuff you don't think you need any more things. Whatever it be, you know, this can help you have fun and just keep on adventuring on and whatnot. Now, another thing is, if you're playing with the iron chest mod, this also works. Now, if you know the iron chest mod, you know that these chests are huge. So, you know, like how these bags are, you know, they're pretty small, obviously. This is a fully upgraded one, but they're still small. This, on the other hand, though, is amazing. 108 slots, and you can carry it around wherever you go. Now, also, keep note, every time you do this, I think it takes 100 and something, or is it just 25? I think it might be just 25 or 50 or something. Let's see. 975. Okay, so it's 100. It takes 100 to do this every time you do it. So, it's not too bad. Actually, let me... Yeah, okay, I think that's right. I think it takes 100. That sounds right. So, you know, each force gem you get can pick up an item 10 times. That sounds right. So, you know, it can be a little overpowering, a little bit. Especially, you know, if you have the iron chest mod, that can definitely feel like you're breaking the game. But if you use the force wrench as well on a spawner, it will give you the spawner. Now, that's something that's really useful, obviously. making mob grinders becomes easy as hell. There's one thing that becomes amazing with the force wrench is that you can pick up spawners, place them wherever you feel. So that definitely makes, finding a spawner somewhere that can make it actually worthwhile. Normally like, oh, this is too far away from my base. I can't really make this into a nice mob trap farm. Well, with the force wrench, you can make a really nice spawner trap that can be right outside your house. So it's very, very nice to have that. Now I believe, if you feel like, oh, I don't want to break my glass and lose it because I'll have to make some more glass. Well, if you shift right click with the force wrench, it'll pick up your glass. So if you misplace a piece of glass or whatever it is, you can pick it up like that. Now as well with ice, you can do the same thing. You can pick up ice. Now, you might be wondering, like, well, what would I really do with ice? Like, is there really a use for it? Well, I believe in Dartcraft, if I can find it, it may not even be a thing anymore. I honestly can't remember. Okay, it's not popping up. I don't remember if that's a thing anymore. There used to be a thing with Dartcraft, where this spot where milk goes, you could put, I think it was, and I could be thinking this wrong, but if I remember right, you could use shaved ice. Now, I can't remember what shaved ice is. Like, you can't just put ice in there. I can't remember what shaved ice was from. I could be thinking of the wrong mod, but I remember there was something else that was better than milk, and I think it was shaved ice. Again, I don't know exactly how to make it, or even if that is a thing anymore, but I know that used to be a thing, if I remember right. So yeah, that is the force wrench. Okay, so another item that, again, I guess it's more of a, a beginning game item. It's, relatively cheap, only one force ingot. It's a relatively cheap item to make. But I don't really feel like people would really craft these. I mean, they can be useful. I mean, like, that right there, that's useful. Like, I'm just normally clicking, just left click, and that's what it does. And I believe if you do this, well, I think this is because of the biome I'm in, but, this is from Biome's Plenty, but if you, I believe if you use these, I could be wrong again, I believe if you use these, though, it gives you more drop rate. Again, I could be wrong, but I think that's what it does. It gives more of a drop rate when you break these with the force, what are these, force mitts? Yeah, force mitts. Now, these things have a decent amount of durability for the fact that you're only using, one force ingot and one iron. It's not a bad investment, I suppose. I've never actually crafted them myself. The only time I ever use them is if I get them from a chest. Other than that, though, I've never crafted these before. Now, as well as you can chop wood with these too. It's pretty quick on wood. It's a universal tool. Like, you can use it on dirt. Well, it's not so great on dirt. Oh, it's not good on grass. Okay. Oh, it's because it's the Origins grass. I see. But yeah, you can break dirt, and it works pretty well. Now, as well, I think it'll work on this. Well, I know it'll work on sand. Like, you can see this thing's pretty fast. It's like you're using, I guess, like efficiency 4 or 5 shovel. So it's pretty quick. And here you can see it's pretty quick on this too. So, all in all, it's a decent tool. Yes, myself, I've never crafted them. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure some people do. They find them useful. They are useful. But when you have something that can do, let's go over here and do it. When you have something that can do this for you, oh, well, it can't mine that, of course. Yeah, let's just do this. When you have something that can do this, yeah. As you just saw there, all that dirt is now gone. Vein Miner, way OP. Never need those force mitts, ever. But oh yeah, as you can see as well, whenever they break, it gives you the force shard, which can be used as liquid force for multiple different things. So that is the force mitts. Okay, so these are the force tools. Now, the force tools they're good. I think they have the same roughly durability of around iron. I'm pretty sure it's a bit more than iron. They're pretty good tools though. Now, you do have to actually use a force stick, so these do require you to first make the sapling, grow it, get some wood, so that you can then make these. So it's really cool to use these when it's kind of early game and stuff. And I can show off some of the things that they can do. For instance, the shovel. Go ahead and show off here. I don't know if it'll work on these blocks, but I probably shouldn't do it right there. If you right click them though, and you dig, you see it takes longer and it breaks. I think it actually does a, let me see here. Yeah, it does it goes 3 by 3 and then down 2. But if you do it like this, right in the middle, it'll do all of it. So it does a 3 by 3 by 3, or, well, it does here, let me do it again. Okay, so it does it does two long, 3 wide, and 3 deep. So it's a really nice tool. These really can be nice tools. And then I guess this joust is going to be perfect. You'll see here, these do 7 attack damage, which is more than an iron tool. Now I don't think this guy will kill me, but we'll see. As you can see, it does 7, 8 damage. A pretty good weapon. They're not bad weapons. And then you also have the bow. Now the bow I've never used. I don't know if it's good or not, so that I really don't know too much on. I've never used the bow, I don't think, and I don't know if man, I'm not sure if there is there's arrows. Yeah, okay, there is arrows. That's what I thought. I remember there was, because there's special things you can do with these. Yeah, and as you can see, instead of using a piece of flint, you use a force nugget. You get 6 arrows. You obviously use a force stick. Again, I've never really used the bow. It is really cool some of the things you can do with the bow, or I think you can. But yeah, we'll get more into that later on in this. And then you get 4 shears, which we'll get into that as well. Those are really cool. I think, yeah, the axe, the pickaxe, and the pickaxe and the axe can do the same thing. They can both be in area mode, so that if you wanted to mine or chop trees in a little bit faster way, if you don't have something like vein miner, it can definitely be very useful to use these tools. And like I said, I'll get more into the way of making them even better in this, and we'll get to that. Alright, so one thing I want to show as well here is, well, first I want to show the bricks off. As you'll see, these bricks, they're these bricks, which can easily be made. All you need is just stone bricks, any stone bricks with force nuggets, and you can make these. If you want to make any of the other colors here, all you need to do is the dye, and I believe you have to use force bricks. I don't know if they, I'm pretty sure they have to be force bricks. Like, you have to make them into force bricks, then recolor them. So whichever you want to have color of, they look really cool, and I think I want to say they give off light, if I remember right. I could be wrong. They may not give off light. I don't think actually they do. Never mind. I was thinking of something else that you can do. But something that's really cool about these shears. Now, one thing that they're standing in is liquid force. You know, this is a bucket of force. Now, I don't know if you're playing, you know, like with like only this mod, like only Dartcraft. I don't know if you're able to actually get this other than getting it in a chest as a reward kind of thing. Now, with playing with other mods though, if you have, I believe it's from Thermal Expansion and Forestry, Thermal Expansion's Magma Crucible, you can put force gems in and it gives you 1.5 buckets, which is one of the most efficient ways of using force gems. Now, you can also take, I don't know why it shows any log, that shouldn't be like that, but force logs in a Magma Crucible will give you 100 millibuckets liquid force. So it would take 10 logs to give you, it would take 10 logs to give you 1 bucket of force, which is pretty good. And then if you come over here, you can get the squeezer will give you 1.5 buckets as well, which this is from Forestry. This will allow you to have a bucket become bucket of force, and then with 10% chance you can get force shards. So pretty nice on that. And then you can do the same thing here with a squeezer with force logs, and it'll give you 0.1 millibuckets of liquid force. So again, 10 logs would equal a bucket. Not too bad there. Now, when they're standing in this, when a mob is standing in this, for instance, you know, normally, you know, you shear, well, it's back. What this does is it increases basically the tick rate at what they would get their stuff back. Now, one thing that's special about these force shears is that you can shear a pig. And if I turn magnet mode on right quick, you can see it's raw bacon, which is awesome. As you can see, you know, he instantly pretty much got his stuff back. You know, again, you can just keep on doing it. And with a chicken, you can do it too. The chicken will give you feathers, and a lot of times when doing this as well, because you're making the chicken, like the chicken's tick rate change, he'll also lay an egg, I believe, every time you do it. If I remember right, yeah. Because you're changing his tick rate to what basically he's doing. So every time you do it, he lays an egg. You can also do it to a cow, and that gives you leather. So this is a really cool thing to have. And you know, I thought this was a really awesome thing whenever I found all this stuff out. I thought it was really cool to have this kind of stuff because, you know, let's say you only find one cow, like you just can't find that other cow. You don't want to kill it to really get leather, so you can use these to get the leather. Same thing with a chicken, you know, maybe you need a bunch of eggs for some reason. It's not really easy to get a bunch of eggs, but like this can be pretty easy. So, yeah, that is the force shears. Now, I want to show another thing as well, actually. Oh, well, yeah, also, if you eat the raw bacon, you'll get poisoned. So, yeah, note on that. But, I'll have to, let's see if I can build up here. If you take damage, probably gonna heal, yeah, I'm gonna heal too fast. Let's turn on difficulty, probably a bad idea, but oh well. I've been having it off because it makes this a lot easier to do. But if I go ahead and take some damage here, and I stand in this, you see my screen is shaking, and now I'm at full health. That's what this does. This can act, I guess you could say it acts like a regeneration effect. It's kind of the way it works, basically. So, and another thing is that it doesn't make you move. Like, for instance, if I stand here, it doesn't have the same true effects as water, but it more flows kind of like lava, how lava more would normally flow. So, you know, you know, it takes a while to like go away too. So it kind of more a little acts like lava in a sense. Now, something else about this liquid as well is that for one thing is when you're playing the Mad Pack, or I'm sure there's other packs out there, if you take one tick of drowning damage, you die. Well, with this, what's really cool about it is that it shows the air bubbles down here, but it doesn't actually go down. So you can stand in this all you want and you don't take any tick damage. Now, another thing to note, since I do actually have the difficulty on, we might as well show this as well. If I get a skeleton, and I guess I'll go ahead and grab a zombie. Of course, if one of these becomes infernal, well, I'm gonna be dead. Alright. Okay, so if I'm just gonna place this first. Put him there. He's gonna start dying. Now he will swim up because that's the way they, you know, they're programmed to work. They will swim up first. Yeah, and as you saw, he died. So they take tick damage from being in this. Of course, it spawned a poisoned one, and as you saw, though, he died as well. So it hurts undead, so it's really cool. I mean, because it makes sense, you know, since it heals you, it should kill the undead, because it would try to heal them, which would then there actually kill them. So a really cool thing there. I really enjoyed the fact that that is a thing. So it's really cool to have that. So yeah, go ahead and I'll grab that up. Yeah, and so yeah, this is definitely cool. Like, the liquid force can be very useful. But like I said, if you're playing with just this mod, not sure if you can really obtain liquid force in any way, honestly. So that is liquid force. Okay, something that I actually just found out that I didn't really know, just because of the fact I've always played with this with other mods, is you can actually put a bucket in the force infuser and you can click go and it will give you a bucket of force. So if you're only playing with this mod and nothing else with it, you can get liquid force. So that is very, very handy, and now you know. Okay, so something else that you can actually do, which is really neat. I never really used them a whole lot, but you can make golden power source from putting a force log into a furnace, and it will give you golden power source. So it's a really cool thing to use because, for one, you can use it as coal, which this is better than using coal or charcoal. This is better. Another thing is that it'll make 6 torches. If you're using a force stick and a golden power source, you can then get some torches. Now, if I remember this crafting recipe, yeah, if you go ahead and you put them all around the circle and put the dye in the middle, because if you just do that, it doesn't work. You have to put them around in a circle and it'll give you different colored torches. And these torches look really cool. You know, if you place it down, you know, it's purple and the top of it is blue. So they're really neat torches. Definitely enjoy these torches. Like I said, never really used them too much. They look cool though. Just never really used them much myself. So don't know. I'm guessing they're basically just like a normal torch. I can't remember. Either they're a normal torch or they give off the same light as a piece of glowstone. I honestly cannot really remember. Again, I don't really use them, haven't really used them much, so not too sure on that, but they are a very useful item for the fact that you don't have to use all your coal. Okay, so something else that's kind of interesting, again, never really used this myself, I definitely could see myself using this though, because it's definitely a really cool thing to use. For some reason though, the tooltip is a little messed up. It says black forest furnace. I guess it's because that's kind of like what he had used for the basis of this block, but this is a forceuflage, I believe is how you say it. Yeah, forceuflage. It's basically a block that, you know, it kind of looks like the furnace. So it's an interesting block. Like, definitely building with it would not be a good idea. But cool thing you can do is if you take a force wrench and you shift right click, or no, my bad. If you right click, just right click, you can change the to like who's allowed to go through it. You can change it to owner only, where no enemies can come in, no passive mobs, only yourself can go through it. Now, if I do that to this one as well, I can walk right through the block. Now, that can be a really cool thing, but then you might be thinking like, oh, well, it's going to look very obvious. Well, to make it look not so obvious, for instance, you know, put some glass in it. Then you can see through it, but you can also walk through it. So it can be a really cool thing to have, you know, for instance, like make like your entrance like on the floor, so then you walk through it and you'll go down into it. Now, one thing that you can also do, I don't know exactly how well this works, but I would figure if let's see if it, no, I feel like what it must do is if you have a mob that gets on this, it'll fall down. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I've never seen it really being used. I've never used it myself either, but I would figure that's how it works, because that would, you know, that would sound really cool to have, because a mob would see this as a block to walk on, so they would walk on it and they'd fall down into it, into a trap, and get killed. So that is forceuflage blocks. Yeah, one thing actually I kind of forgot to show off, started doing other things, but the force furnace, it's, you know, it's basically a furnace. Now, if I am correct, a force furnace for one is faster and more efficient than a normal furnace or normal vanilla furnace, if I'm correct. I think so. Now, one thing is that for one, it can use the golden power source, it can use coal, you know, it can use anything that a normal furnace can use. Now, another thing actually with this furnace as well, because Dartcraft, apparently one of the favorite things of Dartcraft is being able to just take a, well, this probably won't work. Yeah, it's biomes of plenty. My bad. If I take, like, just use some green dye here, you can change the. Okay, now I'm just looking like a. Oh, so biomes of plenty. Apparently, it just doesn't like biomes of plenty. Here, we just do this. There. Okay. Yeah. As you can see, you are able to do that, and it does that. Now, this slot, I'll get into that later, but this does work like a normal furnace. Now, another thing that I need to show off here is, let me get some coal here. Let's just get like, yeah, so you just get some iron, you know, make some Dartcraft stuff. So, you know, you put your coal here like normal, and you put that in there. Now, from what I see, just looking at it, it looks faster. Now, as you can see, where are the items going? Well, if you have a chest right next to it, it automatically will go into this chest. And I believe if you put, I think if you put a chest either like above it or on the other side or the back of it or something, I think it auto pulls. I can't honestly remember. Again, you know, I don't use these a whole lot, but I do know that, you know, you can have a chest right next to it and the items will go into it. So that is a very useful thing. Can be used in many different ways. So definitely useful on that. And we'll get more into this and showing you that this thing can be done. This furnace can be made into well more than just a furnace. Alright, so the next thing here is the armor. Now, along with the tools, this armor is, as far as I remember, it is a little bit better than iron. So you can make all the pieces of armor here, you know, just like you normally would with armor. Any normal armor you would make, it's made the exact same way. You can make it better, obviously, with this. I mean, again, I'll get into that. But the armor, it's decent armor. You know, you get pretty much full armor status. It's pretty good. Like I said, it's about the same as iron. I think it gives more protection than iron, if I'm correct. It has been changed from before. I believe you used to use leather, and it now uses force ingots. So that is the armor. Okay, so some of the things that Dartcraft kind of changes from vanilla stuff is that, for instance, when you kill a bat, you can get a claw, which is used in there. I'll get to that probably in the next episode. And then as well, whenever you kill a sheep, you can get raw lamb chops, which can then be cooked. Now, I believe it normally will give you 3.5 hunger back, but if you're playing a pack that has hunger overhaul, I'm pretty sure that will be affected, so you won't actually get the 3.5. You might though, if that's not configured through hunger overhaul. And yeah, and as well as you can actually craft cobwebs. Normally cobwebs is not a normally obtainable item, but with using this crafting recipe, you can then therefore get a cobweb. Now, a cobweb again is used in here, so you'll see that again at some other point. Now, another really cool thing that that is added for vanilla mechanic is that, as you can see, I have a speed boost. Now, normally with a speed boost, you know, you just run faster. That's all it does for you. But with Dartcraft, for one, it gives you step assist. I don't have to jump, and I can walk up a block. It's only one block, it's not two, it's just one block. So that's pretty useful. But another thing it can actually do is, if you're running and you walk on, if you're running and you run on water, you'll actually slide across the water. So, you know, a very useful mechanic that can be used. You know, it just changes a few things from vanilla, makes them a little bit better, honestly. You know, and actually killing a bat, giving you an item, makes killing a bat actually somewhat reasonable. Now, as well as if you're wearing force armor and you do what I just did, you know, gliding across the water like that, or going up a block and stuff, it does actually, I don't know, maybe going up a block doesn't, but yeah, it's not going up a block. It's when you glide across the water. If you look on the left side of my screen and you look at the armor over here, if you look at the armor, well, if I would run, well, if you run though, if I could run, alright, there we go. Yeah, if I run, you'll see, well, maybe it doesn't. Well, whenever you actually have flight on your armor, it actually will go down, and we'll see that in the next episode. You'll see that, like, because, you know, I just have a speed boost, so it's not consuming anything to do it. So, you know, if you happen to have if you're able to get speed potions, which are very easily able to be made, can definitely help you get around the world and stuff like that, for the time being, of if you can't fly. So that is some of the things that changes from vanilla. So yeah. Okay, so that'll pretty much be the end of the basics of Dartcraft. the next one will be all about this. So if you want to see that, be sure to watch the second episode of this, and I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.